The floats, look at the floats. It is literally so... Spring has arrived. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Josie and I am a beginner knitter who is rapidly becoming obsessed with knitting, and so I had to start a knitting podcast to talk to you all about it because no one in my life cares and I need to talk to someone about it, so I'm talking to you about it. In this episode I'm going to be talking you through anything that I've finished. Spoiler alert, it's this jumper. Then I'm going to be going through my whips, which I thought I wouldn't become one of these people, but I have started just having quite a few different whips, or at least very concrete plans of things that I'm going to be doing. I've also been buying a bit too much yarn, so I'm going to share that with you, and I've got some very fun plans for things that I'm going to be knitting. First thing I wanted to talk to you about is this that I'm currently wearing. My Lakes pullover. You may have seen that I've posted a project vlog about this, so go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. I go into a lot more detail about this in that video, so I won't go into too much about it here, except to say that I have been wearing this every single day since I've knitted it. I'm not joking. It's already covered in some various food stains that I probably need to clean off. Oh, sorry, I should probably say this is the Lakes pullover by Ozetta, and I knitted it in Daydreamer Natura Gilead in the colour Granite. And I picked this yarn up in Berlin when I was there house sitting for my friends, and it has just knitted up so beautifully. I am absolutely obsessed with this yarn. I really want to make something else with it. I wish they had a slightly bigger range of colours, that's the only thing. There's not too many colours that they have that I'm like obsessed with, so that's the only thing that would slightly maybe put me off buying this yarn again. But I think if I wanted to do kind of like an earthy, natural kind of colour knit, then I would definitely get this yarn again. It's really soft, really cozy. It's just like the perfect jumper to just throw on. I wear it all the time. I work from home, so I'm just like constantly living in this jumper. But it also has that structure to it that makes it feel a little bit more elevated, and I feel like I can still wear it like going out for meals, and I've been wearing it to ZZ's and just like random things that I've been doing. I've been wearing it a lot. I would definitely recommend this pattern to any of you out there who are beginners. I kind of go into more detail about that in my project vlog, but I really think this is a super beginner friendly pattern. The next thing I want to talk about, and I am going to talk about my Daydreamer's cardigan as well, but it's kind of annoying me, so I want to talk about something that's not annoying me, and that is the Haze sweater. So guys, I didn't think when I started knitting in January that by March I would be knitting colourwork. I can't believe it. I'm so proud of myself. I thought colourwork was like super advanced, super beyond anything I would be doing, but I just did it, and here it is. I've done the whole yoke. This is the whole section that is colourwork in the design, in the pattern. So I've pretty much completed the colourwork, and look at the floats, look at the floats. And you might notice that I have a slightly different collar to the image, and I decided to have fun with this. I think because it's a colourwork, it kind of invites you to have a bit of fun and play around. And so I decided to do the double folded collar in the contrast colour instead of the main colour. So in the original photo she just has a white collar and then blue just as the contrast for the colourwork. There was a few reasons for this. The first was that I get makeup on my jumpers all the time. I wanted to do the main colour as white, or like creamy white, but I didn't. But I felt like I would just get makeup on it and then I would not want to wear it because of that. So I just thought if I did a darker colour, then the makeup wouldn't show up as much, and sort of dirt and everything wouldn't show up as much. So I wanted to see what this would look like before I went ahead and did it. And so I took the photo that the Knit Purl girl has as like the main photo for this pattern, and I brought it into Procreate, and I just got kind of scribbled over the top of it with some blue. First of all, I just wanted to have a look and see what it would look like as this slightly darker blue, and I liked how that was looking. And then I was like, hang on, I can just draw more. So then I just started drawing on the collar, and I realized that I really liked how that looked. And then I was like, hang on a minute, can I just draw on the arms? Can I add something to the arms? Can I play around in a different way? So that was really fun to play around, and I think once I get to the arms, I'm going to have a little play around with a few different things. But the main thing is I actually only have one ball of the contrast colour because that's what it said you needed, and when I first bought the yarn I didn't think I was going to be playing around so much. So this is how much I have left after doing the yoke, and actually it's quite a bit more than I thought I would have left. Like, I was quite worried that I thought that maybe adding this contrast colour collar would mean that I was playing yarn chicken, and I was a bit worried, but actually I've got this much left, and I was sort of weighing it as I went so I could kind of figure out how much I would have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep knitting now. I'm doing the German short rows at the back at the moment, which hopefully will help shape the back, because obviously with the circular yoke it's can be a little bit tight, I think, around the arms and stuff. So it's good that it's got some German short rows just to shape the back a little bit more. So I'm going to keep knitting, split for the arms, and then once we get to the sleeves and the body, I think what I'm going to do is put in a lifeline and then just have a little play around and see what I like the look of. Maybe do one sleeve, or maybe do the body first and then just see how much yarn I have left over. And then I can always, with that lifeline, I can kind of frog back if I realise that I don't have enough yarn, because my dream would be to like fully use this whole ball of yarn and have no scraps left over. That would be so satisfying. So we'll see. One idea I've had, and something I actually saw someone else do on Ravelry, was to add a certain part of the colourwork into the bottom of the sleeves just before you do the ribbing for the hem, just before you do the ribbing on the ends of the sleeves. That looks quite nice, so I would like to do that, but it just depends if I have enough yarn to do that. If I don't, the second option is to just add like a contrast cuffs, which I think could be quite cool as well. Just adding contrast cuffs. I don't think I have enough to do the full body ribbing in this plus the sleeves, so I'm not gonna consider doing that. I think it might just be a bit too much blue anyway, like it might just be a bit too much. So I think I'm mainly going to be doing the colourwork on the sleeves, potentially just leave the body with no colourwork, or I could potentially just do like a few rows of colour just right at the bottom before I get to the end of the ribbing. So there's lots of options. Let me know in the comments what you think would look good. I'm interested to hear what you think. And yeah, I'm just having so much fun. It feels like I'm pretending that I'm a knitwear designer. Obviously I haven't done any of the hard work. I've just get to do the fun part of like playing around and messing around. And I actually saw this video on TikTok that was talking about how, you know, we can just adapt these patterns and we can have a play around, and it doesn't have to be exactly the same as what the pattern said, especially when it comes to colour and adding stripes or even like little like embellishments here and there. So that video just really got my mind whirring of to like, we don't have to just stick with exactly what the pattern says. And obviously the designer, they know what they're doing, and you know, they create beautiful things, but I think sometimes like adding that little hint of something different makes it a really unique piece, so that even like for being a knitted object, it's even more unique than that, because you've put your own little stamp on it, and then every time you wear it you can be like, oh, I did that, I thought of that. So I think that's kind of the mentality I want to bring into some of my projects going forward, which brings me to the slight stressful project which is the Daydreamer's cardigan. I spoke about this in my last podcast. Let's see how we are doing. So as you can see, I have started on a sleeve, and I also have the body still connected, and I have 4 knitting needles in this project because I am for some reason doing the sleeve and the body at the same time. Don't ask me why I'm doing that. Well, actually I'm going to tell you, and that is because I'm playing a serious game of yarn chicken. It is quite scary. I have this, and one other ball, and that is all I have. And this is going on the body, and this is going on the sleeve, I think, or the other way around. And anyway, if you didn't watch my previous podcast, this is the Daydreamer's cardigan by Kutovakika, and I bought the yarn for this in Berlin as well, and I was so excited, and I still am. Like, it's beautiful. I love the colour, I love the texture. I really, really want this cardigan to work out. But my problem is, it's impossible to find the Lana Grossa yarn in this colour, and I'm also slightly scared that even if I do spend the ridiculous amount of money it costs to ship things to post-Brexit Britain, let's not talk about that, even if I did manage to do that, it could be the wrong dye lot and I could have a dye lot problem on my hands. So I've made the decision that I'm not going to try and chase this yarn down across the world and try and pay ridiculous amounts of money to get it shipped here, because that's just stressing me out in itself, and I'd rather not do that. But after I've been mulling this over, and I'd actually started this colour work and I was having all fun playing around with colours, and then it got me to thinking maybe the solution to this problem is not tracking down the yarn, but maybe changing the colour of certain bits and having a play around and having fun. So of course I went back onto Procreate, and I also tried this on the Photoshop app on my phone, which was quite good as well. So if you want to do something like that, try the Photoshop app on your phone. I think it's paid though, but I got a free trial, so I was just playing around. Or you can just pay for Procreate, and that's, I think, like £10, but then you just pay it once and that's it. I know that I've got just enough yarn to do the sleeves and to do a bit further down on the body, but I don't think I would have enough to do the collar and the plackets as well. So I think what I'm gonna do is try something, because the thing is, I can get this yarn, that's not the problem. The problem is the colour of this Lana Grossa yarn that I could not find anywhere. It's apparently discontinued. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the same yarn, but in like a light pastel-y pink colour. At first I was like, maybe it should be black, like Chanel. But then I realised that that was way too much of a statement and I don't think I would actually wear it. But I was thinking like a light pink, like, because this is quite a strong saturated corally pink, but imagine like a very desaturated powder puff pink colour, and I would do that on the rib of the sleeves, and I would do that on the placket and the collar. And then the only bit I'm not quite sure about is, like, ideally I wouldn't really want to do it on the body, but I've been playing around with how it looks and I think it actually looks quite cool. I think my problem is I don't want it to look like I just ran out of yarn and then I had to get a new colour, because that is what it will probably end up looking like unless I'm very careful. So I think I need to be strategic with where I start and stop the yarn that I currently have. And I think it might work. Like, I'm quite excited. It could potentially be cool. It could be, you know, something unique again, you know, something that not many people have who knit this cardigan. Most people are just knitting it in the plain colour. But yeah, I think it might be quite cool and potentially might even look better than it was going to look before. So we will see. I've been playing around with different ways of doing this, and I think I have a plan in my head of how it's going to look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep knitting and I'm just going to see how far I can get on the body. I'm going to also block it because it might grow in blocking and then I won't need to use as much yarn as well. So I'm just going to do that, and then I think once I've done that and have a clear idea of exactly how much yarn I have left, then I think I'll order the pink yarn. So that is my plan for that. Let me know what you think. I don't know if I've just gone mad or if it's actually a good idea. I think that's enough of my whips and my stressy whips. Let's get on to some acquisitions, which is all the yarn I've been buying and probably shouldn't have been buying. I have been a bit spendy with my yarn over the last couple of months just because I've had so much excitement. I'm very aware that I'm very privileged to be able to afford this beautiful yarn. I just want to let you know that I do not take it lightly, the fact that I'm able to have this hobby, and I think I got a bit in my head about it because obviously you were sharing on the internet, you kind of open yourself up to a bit of criticism, but this is my hobby, and I used to buy a lot of art supplies and now I just buy yarn instead. So yeah, that I guess is my little statement on that. But basically I did a knitting for Olive order. And I also got something else which I'll share with you in a second, but first let's go through the knitting for Olive order. So I got some cotton merino in Dusty Banana. I only got 2 balls of this. I'm going to be making the Ilyana camisole by Masha Ziablakova. Sorry if I butchered your name. Basically I want to knit cables. I think after my foray into colour work, I'm now like, ooh, what other things can I try? And I really want to try cables, and I really want to do a cable sweater obviously, but I feel like before I do that I need to do something that's just like a beginner or like an entryway into the cable world. So what I'm going to be doing, where's the other ball? With these 2 balls of Dusty Banana cotton merino. I just love the name Dusty Banana, it's so cool. I just love the colour. Look at it. It's like, it's definitely more like less yellowy than I thought it was going to be, but it's just such a good neutral and I really love it. Actually it is quite close. I have this t-shirt, sorry, I'm showing you my manky t-shirt that's just sat on the bed, but yeah, I have this t-shirt that is like a similar colour and I wear it all the time and I think the colour really suits me, so I'm pretty happy with this colour choice, and I'm going to be making this camisole. It has cables, but it's like the smallest, most basic cables as far as I can tell. So I think it will be a really good intro for me reading charts, and I mean the chart kind of scares me, even though it is a small thing. I mean the chart is still hectic, but I feel like after reading the colourwork chart of the Haze sweater, I'm now like, oh, I understand charts. At least I understand the concept of how to read them, like bottom, right to left. Like even that blew my mind to start off with, because I was like, that's the opposite to how you read. But then I realised that knitting, that's how knitting happens, and that kind of blew my mind and I was like, whoa. And then I was like, I need to try this for myself. So I'm going to be, yeah, knitting that in this Dusty Banana, and sorry, I just keep calling it Dusty Banana because it's just such a good name. So I'm going to be knitting this in the cotton merino, and I'm excited to do something, knit something that is kind of thinking ahead for spring, summer, and yeah, I'm quite hyped about it and very excited, and I just keep looking at this balls of yarn and it just looks so good and I'm so excited to start. The other thing I got in the knitting for Olive order was, which I actually ordered directly from the Knitting for Olive website. You have to get it shipped to you from overseas, but it actually does work out cheaper because the prices on there are quite a bit cheaper than they are on any local websites that I'd found, so I decided to do that. I have 5 balls of this soft silk mohair in unicorn purple. Look at that colour, it is so good, I love it. When I opened this package and I just saw these colours, I was like, spring has arrived. So with this, I'm going to be knitting the light loop sweater by Other Loops. I've spoken about this in a few videos. I've been really wanting to do a translucent kind of sweater that you can wear like with certain things underneath. And by the way, imagine this with this underneath. How good would that look? So that is what I'm going to be doing with these, and I have done the swatch for this, and I think I'm going to be maybe casting this on kind of soon, but obviously I need to finish some other things first. So I think this will be the next thing that I cast on. I'm very aware that I also have my other mohair sweater, the Sophia sweater, that I still need to do. But there's just, I think I'm getting that thing of when you've had yarn sitting around for too long and you're like not as excited by it anymore, and now I'm like, oh, I've got this new yarn, this is way more exciting. But I will get to this Sophia sweater at some point, but I think I am going to cast on this light loop sweater first. You know, it's a hobby, I can do whatever I want, there are no rules, don't judge me. So yeah, that was my knitting for Olive order, and then I had something go wrong. Let me get it to show you. Hang on. So this is my favourite cardigan. I used to wear it for dinners all the time. It's like quite tight. So this is 100% wool, and it's actually a vintage M&S jumper that I got on Vinted ages ago, and I loved it. But it's 100% wool, and I had moved into a new apartment and my new washing machine had a wool cycle, and I thought, great, now I can just wash my wool things in the washing machine, which was a stupid idea. And I thought I'd put it on cold, but for some reason it had washed it a bit, and it kind of felted the cardigan a bit, and it just became like from like a comfortable fit to quite tight. And I could still wear it. It wasn't like so crazy, you know, when it goes like really, really small, it wasn't like that, but it just meant that it was a bit tighter. And because of that, one day I was just putting it on and it just ripped this massive hole in it, and it's just kind of ruined. Like, I don't really see a way to fix that cleanly. And I'm not really a sewing expert, and also because it has slightly felted, I just feel like I don't want to spend ages trying to fix something where the material is already a bit messed up. So basically I was like, maybe I should knit a new version of this that is like kind of like this but more perfect and like fits me better and isn't, you know, now too small. And also it had like the arms were quite short because I have quite long arms, and so that always slightly annoyed me. So even though it was my favorite cardigan, there were still a few things about it that I wanted to fix. And so the other day I was just looking online and I was like, maybe I should look at the cashmere. I'm sorry, look at this colour match. I just couldn't help it. As soon as I saw this colour and I already knew that I wanted to buy some yarn to make a cardigan, I was like, it's just too perfect, I have to buy it. With this, I'm going to be making the Copenhagen cardigan by Petite Knit, and my justification for buying cashmere to make this, because it was quite expensive, I'm not going to lie, my justification is, if we're buying for a lot of things in the knitting world, people are buying like a strand of merino with a strand of mohair, that can actually add up quite quickly. And buying a sweater quantity of merino and soft silk mohair from, say, Knitting for Olive, it actually kind of works out the same as just buying like this to hold with one strand. Maybe this is still slightly more, but honestly there's not that much in it. Like, I was doing the maths and I was like, okay, I could get a merino and hold it with a soft silk mohair from Knitting for Olive, but for not much more, basically for about the same price, I could have an 100% cashmere cardigan. So that is what I'm going to do, because you can just hold it with this, and like, because it's so soft, you don't need to have anything else with it. So that's my plan. And just when I saw this colour, I just knew that it was meant to be, because it is exactly the same. Like, maybe this is just ever so slightly more like blue, but even the speckliness, like it's got blue and white, and this also has blue and white. It is literally so close. And the Copenhagen cardigan pattern is very similar. It has the pockets on it, and it's a bit more sort of a tight fitting cardigan, and it has the same collar. So yeah, and then my husband had the great idea of taking the buttons off this cardigan and then putting it on my new cardigan, so that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, I'm very excited about this one. I can't believe that I'm going to be knitting with cashmere, 100% cashmere. It's absolutely crazy, and I just know that it's going to be something that I'm going to love forever. So for me, it's kind of justified, and also I'm just so sad about there being a massive hole in my favourite cardigan that emotion kind of is what drove the purchase of that yarn. So yeah, that is something I'm going to be doing relatively soon, I think, because I'm just so excited to try it. And I have knit petite knit before, and I really like her patterns, especially for beginners. I feel like they're very beginner friendly, so yeah, I'm so excited about that. The only thing, at first I was counting how many buttons are on here, and there was like one less button than in the petite knit pattern, but then I just randomly saw on the inside of this cardigan that there was another button just sat here. So I feel like that was a sign. So I think that is all I've got to share with you. I've been buying too much yarn, so I'm gonna just go and knit now and try and get through my Daydreamers cardigan. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your lovely comments and subscribes in the last video. I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe if you haven't already. I think 90% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed, so if you fancy hitting the subscribe button, please go ahead. I'm sure I will be uploading another podcast soon because I have a lot of knitting motivation going on at the moment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!